Welcome children, take out your history book. Chapter 7, Rise of British Power in Bengal. Today's topic, Advent of the East India Company. In the 15th century, the discovery of new lands by the powerful European states, especially in the Far East, was the first step in the worldwide expansion. Now see, during the first century, the discovery of new lands means the powerful European states have discovered some new lands, and especially that was in the Far East, and it was only the first step in the worldwide expansion. The discovery of sea route to India by Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer in 1419, opened the gates of Portuguese traders who settled in Goa to establish their trade. Now, in 1498, what happened? Vasco da Gama, who was he? He was a Portuguese explorer. He discovered a new sea route to India, and this sea route opened the gates of Portuguese traders, and these Portuguese, they settled in Goa to establish their business empire. The Portuguese were followed by the Dutch, the Spanish, the French and the English traders, who were all looking for the market to sell their finished goods and carry raw materials back home. Now, all the countries, that is the Portuguese were followed. That means the other countries, that is the Dutch, the Spanish, the French and the English trader, all followed the Portuguese, and they all were looking for these countries. These people, they were all looking for the market because they wanted to sell their finished goods and carry the raw materials to their own country. Thus, trade increased by leaps and bounds, and so trade increased by leaps and bounds, and the small kingdoms on the coast on western and eastern India, unaware of the concept, and the small kingdoms which lies on the western and eastern India, they didn't know, they were unaware of the results, encouraged this trading, right? They were unaware of the result. As being ignorant of the result, they have encouraged the trading. In India, European traders became very powerful. And now India, what happened? When the European traders, they became very powerful and wealthy. Gradually, the Dutch and the Portuguese ceded away to the English and the French. Now what happened? Gradually, the Dutch and the Portuguese, they also ceded away to the English and the French. A fierce competition emerged between the French and the English for the monopoly of trade and colonial position that led to the now very big competition. It emerged, it came out between the French and the English for the monopoly of the trade and even the colonial position, which was led to the Carnatic Wars. Carnatic Wars, the French East India Company had its base in Pondicherry. Now, French Carnatic East India Company, where they had its base in the Pondicherry with factories in Mahe, Yanam and Karaikal. Now, where they had their factories, that is in Mahe, Yanam and Karaikal. The stiff competition between the British and the French led to a series of wars known as the Carnatic War, named such as since the battles were fought in a region within the present day state of Tamil Nadu. Now, there was stiff competition, that means very tough competition between the British and the French, and this competition led to a series of wars which were known as the Carnatic War, named as since the battles were fought in a region within the present day of Tamil Nadu, present state of Tamil Nadu. Now, first Carnatic War. In 1774, Britain and France were at war in Europe. During the year 1744, Britain and France, they were at war in Europe. This war had its impact in India as well. Even this war has its great impact, which was seen in India. The British threatened to occupy Pondicherry. Now, British, what they did, they threatened that they would capture Pondicherry. The French, led by Joseph Francois Dupleix, retaliated by occupying Madras, and the French were led by Joseph Francois Dupleix. They retaliated by occupying Madras. The British appealed to Anwar-ud-Din, the Nawab of Carnatic, for help, as Madras fell within his territory. Now, the British, whom they appealed to Anwaruddin, who was the Nawab of Carnatic, because the British wanted the help, as Madras lies within his territory. The Nawab sent an army but was defeated by the French. Now, though the Nawab sent an army, but still the Nawab was defeated by the French. Then in 1748, with the end of the war in Europe, Anglo-French hostilities in India also ceded. Now what happened? And in 1748, when the war ended in Europe, what happened? Anglo-French hostilities in India also stopped. In accordance with the peace settlement, Madras was returned to Britain. Now when they have made some peace settlement, Madras also went in the hands of British. Now, Second Carnatic War. The second war between British and the French was fought in 1749 over the issue of succession to the throne of Hyderabad and Carnatic. Now, second war, what happened? That was between the British and the French. They also fought in 1749 over the issue of the succession to the thrones of Hyderabad and even the Carnatic. The two powers supported by rival candidates. Now, these two powers, they were supported by the rival candidate. In Hyderabad, the French supported Muzaffar Jung, while the British backed Nasir Jung. In Carnatic, the French supported Chanda Sahib, while the British wanted to install Muhammad Ali. Now, in Hyderabad, what happens? The French, they have supported Muzaffar Jung, while the British, they backed the Nasir Jung. In Carnatic, the French, they supported Chanda Sahib, while the British, they wanted to install Muhammad Ali. In the war that followed, the British army defeated the French forces. Now, the war which followed the British army defeated the French forces. A peace treaty was signed and Dupleix was recalled to France. Now, one peace treaty was signed and Dupleix was called back to France. Now, Third Carnatic War. Peace between the two powers was short-lived. Once again, a war out in Europe in 1756. In 1756. Now, peace which lay between the two powers was short-lived. Once again, a war broke out in Europe in 1757. Once again, what happened? One war broke out in Europe, that was in the year 1756. In India, the British forces defeated the French forces. India, what happened? And French forces were defeated by the British forces. A peace treaty was signed in 1763. Now, in 1763, what happened? One peace treaty was signed. The French were given back their factories in India. Now, the French, they were given back their factories, that is in India, but were not allowed to fortify. The factories could serve only as trade centers and not the colonial outpost. Now, factories, they could only serve the trade center, but not the colonial outpost. The French influence declined and the British went on to become the masters of India. Now, French influence what happened? And they got declined, and the French, they went on to become the masters of India. Now, conquest of Bengal. In the 18th century, Bengal was the richest and the most fertile province in India. Now, 18th century, what happened? Bengal, what was it? It was the richest and even the most fertile province in India. The British East India Company was mostly active in the states of Bengal. Now, British East India Company, what it was? It was mostly active, that was in the state of Bengal. By 1750, Bengal accounted for almost 75% of the company's procurement of Indian goods. Now, so 1750, what happened? Bengal, they have accounted for almost 75% of the company's procurement of the Indian goods. Determined to extend their profits, the British in Bengal had, by the 18th century, began to systematically abuse the right to free trade awarded to them by the Mughal Empire. Now, they had determined the Britishers, they have determined to extend their profit. The British, what happened? British in Bengal, by the mid of 18th century, they started to abuse the right to free trade system, which was given to them by the Mughal Emperor. This led to a conflict between Sirajuddaula, Nawab of Bengal, and the East India Company as the English company assumed critical control over the area of Bengal. Now, this resulted in a conflict that was between Sirajuddaulah, who was the Nawab of Bengal, and the English East India Company. As the English company, they assumed some critical control over they have control over the area of Bengal. Further, in anticipation of a war with the French, who had a settlement in Chandannagar, the company began to fortify Calcutta in 1766. Moreover, with the participation of war with the French, who had a settlement in Chandannagar, the company they started to fortify Calcutta in 1756. This ended Sirajuddaulah, who reviewed this as a challenge to his authority. Now, what happened? This made angry Sirajuddaulah, and he found that it was a challenge to his authority. Hence, in June 1956, he marched to Kolkata and captured Fort William. So, in June 1956, what happened? He marched to Calcutta and captured Fort William, the garrison of the company. Now, take out your diary, write Chapter 7, The Rise of British Power in Bengal, page 71 and 72. Explain, homework, revise it. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.